Welcome to Tea and Chat Tuesday. Now, quick little disclaimer, Tea and Chat Tuesday is the rebranded version of Walk and Talk Wednesday. I liked originally the concept of Walk and Talk Wednesday, but the issue with Walk and Talk Wednesday is, one, I found the audio is pretty hard if I'm moving around, the camera shots aren't particularly steady, but mainly the audio, there was a lot of wind resistance I think in one of the episodes that I recorded, maybe my previous one, and with the evening starting to get a bit longer now, winter starting to draw in. I say as I'm in shorts, but by the time this episode comes out, it'll be getting closer to winter, and I think realistically, Walk and Talk Wednesday is going to be hard to record just because of the weather. So I've rebranded it to Tea and Chat Tuesday, which I think will work a lot better. We can sit, we can have a cup of tea. I have actually already drunk mine, so there's none in there. But next time I'll make a fresh pot and make sure I don't drink it until we're at the episode. The whole idea of this, to me, rebranding it, just felt right because it's more of a sit down and you're having a chat like you would with your friend on the sofa, just me to a camera, so me to you guys. And to me it just felt a lot more natural rather than walking around. I found I was quite out of breath as well because I was walking around and I was basically talking continuously, at least for approximately about 10 minutes, which is a long time to talk continuously for. And when you're trying to walk and figure out where you're going as well, it's very hard to talk continuously about a subject for 10 minutes, focus on holding the camera at a decent angle that you guys would be able to see my face, and also making sure I didn't fall in a hole or things like that. So I think this setup going forward will be a lot better. Also let me know if you guys want this to be on a separate channel, because I could do this as more kind of a sit down podcast channel, or if you like this on the main channel, then we'll keep it on the main channel. But please drop the comment in the section down below and just let me know which you prefer. But I've digressed, so now back to the main topic of this video, which is grief. So the chances are, if you've clicked on this video, you are either someone who has gone through grief, is experiencing grief, or knows someone that is also going through grief. And this is just a safe place to openly discuss how you're feeling, and maybe we can try and get some sort of solution, some sort of feedbacks and way to cope with grief better. So my own personal experience of grief, when I was younger, I've not really experienced grief too much. I'd lost grandparents, but I think I was more at the age where I was so young that you didn't tend to register it fully. But now that you're older, obviously you're more capable of You're more capable of registering grief a lot easier, and this past 9 months has not been easy because we've had a lot of series of grief. So the first main experience I had of grief was with my grandma, and that was last October. Yeah, end of October, November time. My grandma, so backstory, my grandma was in a care home, but she got a stomach infection, so she had to go to the hospital. She was at the hospital, I think, for a total of about 2 weeks, and it's not a nice thing to see the people you love and the people you care about in a situation where basically you can't help them. There's nothing you can really do. And my grandma was on, she obviously had oxygen, she had medication, things like that. My grandma was not mobile prior to this, so she had to be helped with a wheelchair and a hoist as well to go to the bathroom. So she was completely bedbound in the hospital, which obviously means things like toileting, cleaning yourself, staff, hospital carers had to do as well. It was not nice. I felt guilty leaving her there, particularly because you could see she wanted family around her constantly. My grandma was a very loving lady. She loved cuddles, kisses, holding your hands, very affectionate, and she wanted that when she was there. And I can remember one night in particular, I went and sat with her. So she was really lucky with the family that she had. All of us, we would basically rotate and take shifts, so she was, with the exception of a little bit during the night, she pretty much had at least one member of family with her throughout the whole time there, which not many people can say they have, and she's incredibly lucky for that. But either way, I always felt guilty leaving her there, just because it's not a nice place. And she said some weird things, and I know it's obviously, you know, she's dosed up on medication to take away any pain and things like that, but she did say one funny thing, which was that she said, oh, I've been travelling, I've been on holiday. And I was like, oh, anywhere nice? And she was like, yeah, India. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay. I was like, was it good? And she was like, yeah. I was like, all right, fair enough. So my grandma thought she'd went to India, which is, you know, that's fine. I'd rather she thought she was sort of there exploring on holiday than in the hospital, you know, that's more of a comfort. So she said some pretty wacky stuff towards the end, but we had to fight tooth and nail to try and get her back into the care home, because we were kind of told by the hospital staff, this is just, you know, it's a waiting game now, basically. So we were sort of fighting tooth and nail to try and get her back into the care home, and we managed to get her back into the care home, which was lovely. And I think she was only in there, I don't know, maybe two nights, 2 days, something like that. And then she passed away. And I can always, my grandma was always what I would class as very practical but very upfront lady. So I can remember me and my auntie were at her bedside one time, and she turned around and she said, you don't need to worry, she said, if I'm dying, I've had a good life. That'll always sit with me, because I mean, she obviously knew, she was of sound mind, she obviously knew it was coming, but the fact she was so at peace with it, I thought was an amazing thing. And I hope that when my time comes I can feel like that as well, because she was just so relaxed. I mean, I tried to say something comforting back. My auntie was visibly obviously upset, and you know, if I heard my mum say that, I would be visibly upset at that comment. And I turned around and I said, yes, I said, don't worry, I said, we'll all be together one day soon. I said, you're just going to get there a little bit earlier than us. And she nodded her head. And I tried to make light of the situation, and I said, if not, I said, you can always come back and haunt us. Oh dear. Whew. So that was death number 1 in October last year. Then we had Christmas, and then in the early year, so in January, our rabbit Rosie passed away. If you can see the camera kind of shaking at the moment, that's because my other rabbit Bucky is currently nudging it. What are you doing, mate? What are you doing? So then, yeah, in early January, so we had 2 rabbits. We had Bucky and we had Rosie, brother and sisters. We'd rescued them from this lady who was moving house. We'd had them, must have been at least half a year to nearly a year, and Rosie fell sick. She went downhill, but she went downhill really fast. Like, she just stopped eating, she started losing weight, she just looked visibly really ill. We did all the right things. We took her to the vet checked her over, they took blood samples, they gave her medication, they gave her recovery fluid supplements that we had to give her. We tried absolutely everything. We were making sure she had lots to eat, drink, we gave her the medication. We tried really hard, but unfortunately she did pass away. That one was quite hard because Paige was away at the time, and I can remember coming home and I obviously found that Rose the rabbit had passed, and I think it was hard because I've never found something that's dead. Like, I've never found a pet or a person dead, so that felt weird, particularly being the first one, and I had to sort of wait for a while because I thought I can't move her because my girlfriend Paige will want to see her. So that was emotional. That was quite a lot, and we went and we took her to my parents, and she's buried under their olive tree, which is lovely, and they have like wildflowers. This year they had poppies and stuff growing there, so it's, you know, she's in a nice spot, which is good. Bucky's all good, thank goodness. We were really worried about Bucky in particular for loneliness, because rabbits are supposed to come in pairs and supposed to live in pairs. We did try bonding him with this other rabbit that we got from a rescue home, but it did not work. She was so aggressive towards him. He then became really scared of her, and he was actually starting to show more stress signs whilst we were trying to bond them together than when he was on his own. So we took the choice to stop trying to bond them together. She went back to the rescue centre. We just said, look, it's not working, which they were totally fine with, which was good. So he has been on his own for what, half a year now, and I'd say overall he's doing really well. I mean, he's a house rabbit, so he's constantly around me and Paige. I have friends, I have family over. Everyone makes loads of fuss of him, so it's not like he's not getting enough attention. He has the whole run of this space in the flat, so he has the lounge and the kitchen area. We've got the camera just died, sorry about that. But yeah, as I was saying, he's got tunnels, he's got treats, he's got his own bed. Like, we give him enrichment toys and things like that, so he hasn't shown any signs of being depressed or sad. Like, he hasn't been staring at any walls, he hasn't been aggressive, which I know is another sign. Maybe in the future we will look at finding him a friend, but I think particularly now in the house moving process, I just can't see that as being a priority. So we've had Grandma, then we've had Rosie the rabbit. The next came, January. Honestly, January was a shit month for this year. So we had Rosie pass, and we also received a diagnosis of my Auntie Marg, that she had cancer. She had stage 4 lung cancer due to asbestos. They believed asbestos from the factory that she worked in when she was younger. We were told there were several options. There should be an immunosuppressant or immunotherapy something, potentially chemotherapy, which would prolong the outcome, but the outcome was short anyway. They basically said within the year. Auntie Marg was due to be on, a trial drug, I think, and she wanted to do it, but because I think it was her platelets or something like that was low, she wasn't eligible to do it, so she couldn't have the trial one, which just left her with the other form of treatment, which I think was the immuno one, which she did have. She said it made her feel a bit grotty, but overall she was doing all right. She just said she felt really tired, and obviously because she had a collapsed lung because it was lung cancer, she was, very out of breath, coughing quite a lot. This one has been quite hard on the family, I think, because she was young as well, like it was before her time. And I can remember my mum saying that Auntie Marg had a bad fall and that she was now in a hospital. She was on a ventilator, I think. And then I think it was like a day or something later, I got told she's got, was it pneumonia? No, not pneumonia. I can't remember. She'd got some sort of infection that obviously for whatever reason something was triggered. She'd got an infection, and literally a week later she passed away. And I think the bit that got me the most was the fact that I found out that she tried messaging her husband and asking him to come and get her, and she said, I think it was something like, I'm in the waiting room, or come and get me, or something like that. And obviously her husband, was quite rightly worried and contacted the hospital staff, and they calmed my auntie down and said, look, you shouldn't do that, you're getting your husband worried. And it was something ridiculous, like 15 minutes later, that she actually passed away. And I mean, she must have known. I mean, you must know if you're messaging like that. because she didn't do it prior, so I think she knew. I think she just wanted a husband with her, which is fine. The funeral was absolutely beautiful, but it was very, very emotional because we all loved her dearly. It was all too early, and cancer's not a nice thing. And cancer, I've never really heard of a case where it's not touched someone, as in it's not touched a family, be it directly or indirectly. Like, obviously I've personally never had cancer, but you know, it's touched me through someone that I care about. And grief's a hard thing because it's been a little while now since she passed. I think it must have been like a month or something now. And obviously you'd think, you know, it's not my wife, it's not my mother, it's not my sister even, it's my auntie. But I think something about this one hit a lot harder because, one, she was younger. You know, with my grandma, I think because my grandma was very at peace with it, and there was no, you know, she was obviously ill, she had this stomach infection, but there was no rapid cancer, and it wasn't like she was 20 years, 30 years younger. And as my grandma said, you know, she'd had a good life, and she was obviously at peace. My auntie was a lot younger, and it's not a nice thing, cancer. It's not nice. She was in pain, she was struggling to breathe, you know, it's not nice. But I think in terms of ways of sort of coming to terms with it, the actual funeral itself can help because it's a way that the family can connect, it's a way to remember. My mum read out honestly a beautiful eulogy, which is the speech you give about the person that's passed, and that was a beautiful thing. You know, her and her husband were childhood sweethearts. They met on a blind date that both of their best friends set them up on. You know, it's like something out of a novel, like a romance film. And I think one thing that I've taken from it is, in my view, in my eyes anyway, that although she's gone, in one sense, she's not gone completely. This is just my view, this is in my eyes. So she really liked butterflies, so I find that whenever I see a butterfly, or if a butterfly comes near me, that's one way that I see her. I can obviously see her physical resemblance in her children, and particularly my mother, which was her sister. And then even small things like when I go to the shops and I see a box of licorice, like she loved licorice. Licorice was her favourite sweet. So it's small things like that. So I'm like, she's not gone in that sense, because I can see parts of her personality and resemblance in other ways that are still in the world. And her impact, well, the impact that all of them had, because I sort of think Grandma was an amazing, loving, caring woman. She was so accepting of my mother into the family. She was amazing with me. So my grandma was the head of the Mothers Union at church, so very, very Christian, very religious. And obviously me being gay and coming out, there's a certain way that, not everyone, but that some people who are Christian, particularly if they're heavily religious, can take that. And she was just so accepting, so loving and kind, and her reaction to me coming out was, well, when Laura gets a girlfriend, she can bring her over. Like, Grandma did not care at all. That was like small news. It was like, she was so accepting, so loving. Just an all-round beautiful lady. I was very lucky to have her as my grandmother. And then Rosie, I sort of think it's a rabbit. I've never had pet rabbits before. This was mine and my girlfriend Paige's first pets, and I sort of think these animals, again, we're really lucky. They're so loving. Like, she was very mischievous, Rosie, out of the two, but she was so loving. And when both of them came to us, they were so shy and timid, and they literally just hid under the table. And over the months we managed to get it to a stage where they would actually come over to us and they would let us stroke them. And I mean, but Bucky will come up on the sofa now, he'll nudge you for strokes, like, so comfortable. She was honestly a really lovely rabbit, and they're both litter trained, so it's like there was no wee all over the floor. Like, sometimes you get the odd bit of poo, but there was never any wee on the floor. Like, she's a really clean, nice natured animal, and she never bit, neither does Bucky. And then as far as Auntie Ma goes, I've never had, with the exception of my grandma, I've never had an extended family member say that they love me. One, just that statement in general, and two, that I could look at and think, I can see it, like, I can see that she loves me. She was, again, so accepting of my partner Paige. She was, you know, straight away she can come down, she says, I love our Paige, because she's Bristolian, so they say our, I love our Paige. And just a lovely, kind woman that, you know, she deserved better. So it's been a lot this past year, really, in terms of grief. There's been other things that have been happening, just life things in general, but it has been a lot, just grief-wise. But I wanted to talk about some ways that me and some of the family have obviously been coming to terms with the grief and ways to deal with it. As I think I mentioned a few minutes ago, there's obviously the funeral, which, you know, helps with a little bit of closure for some people. Another thing I did that made me feel good is I went and I wrote out a load of notes and got some flowers, and I went round and I put them on hospital cars. And I got that idea off of someone off of Instagram, but I just saw it and I thought that's a lovely thing. And in my head, I sort of think it's with both my grandma and my auntie sort of spending some of their last few days in hospital. It was a way that I could, like, give back and sort of just feel a bit more at peace and at terms with things. So I really enjoyed that. Another way that that's really helped with grief for me and also with the extended family is just talking about it, because if you keep your emotions all bottled up, it's literally like a soda can, like a lemonade can. You're gonna shake and it's gonna build up and it's just gonna go pop at some point, and that's never healthy. So talking about things and just even just memories of them, it's just a way to feel relaxed and let out emotions. And a good cry is always recommended as well, by me anyway. I have found as well, just keeping busy. I mean, grief will creep up on you at any point. Like, I was reading a story to the children at work the other day. So I work in a nursery, so I work with 3 to 4 year olds. And I was reading a story, I'd never read it before, and in the story it talked about this invisible string that connects everybody that you love together. And the story was really beautiful, but then the children were saying, oh, does it connect me to my friend such and such? Does it connect me to you? And the mum was saying, yes, that's how it works. And then one of the children said, does it connect me to, I think it was like Uncle Dave or something, who's in heaven? And she said, yes, it'll even stretch that far. And my God, I had to suck it in. I had to really suck it in then, because I was like, I can't let these kids see that I'm emotional. But that story hit me. But again, it's a beautiful philosophy, and it just says that even though you can't see them, your love still stretches. It's still there, and that's how you can feel connected to them, which I think is beautiful. So it's a lovely story. But yeah, grief creeps up on you on, like, weird moments, and that was definitely one of them for me. But another way I've been coping is I've been keeping very busy. So I've been seeing lots of my friends, lots of my family. Obviously we've got the whole house move going on, so I've been busy with that. But I try and do lots of practical things and get out of the house as well, because I think if you just sit and you just dwell, it's never good for the mind. I think it's fine if you want to sit and you want to chat to someone and get things off your chest, that's completely different. But just to sit, have nothing to do and dwell and not get outside, that's not healthy for the mind or for the body. So I've been doing a lot of going swimming in the sea and to the beach, where it's just, you know, having a cold plunge, a shock to your body, and then coming out and it's really hot sun and the salt's good for your skin. Like, it just feels good, you know? So I think it's important, if you're going through some form of grief, is to find something that you really enjoy doing and make sure it gets you out of the house. And then communication, connection with other people if you can. If you don't have that community and connection in your life, that's absolutely fine. For me personally, I've done this in the past. I would go and I would talk to a counsellor if that's something that works better, having someone completely anonymous and disconnected from your life, that's not family, that's not friends. If that works, I would go that route 100%. But yeah, I think it's important as well to take care of yourself in those situations. It's very easy to forget yourself when you get consumed with grief. I found particularly like a couple of days or even odd times afterwards when I'd be thinking about it, I'd end up not going outside, or I'd end up skipping lunch or not drinking as much as I should have, or I'll be like, I don't really feel like doing anything, I'll watch TV when I should have gone for a bath or a shower. So just making sure that you take care of your basic needs as well, it affects overall how your mood is doing, so that's really important. And I think it's really important to remember that grief takes time, and it can creep up on you even years down the line, and it's just important to come to terms with those feelings and just sit with them for a while and accept that it is going to take a long time, or that things may pop up, you know, months, years down the line. You're like, whoa, didn't think I'd be feeling like that because I've been so good recently, but something made me think of them and it's just sort of sent me back into a spiral, and that's okay. Setbacks are completely fine and should be expected. I feel like I've been jabbering for ages, but my main sentiment as well, and I want to reach out to anyone that is watching this that is going through grief themselves personally. Please, if you need any form of support, I'm going to drop some helplines in the comment section down below, but also please comment on there if you're feeling alone, going through similar things, and you just want to vent and get it off your chest. Then please comment and I will do my best to reply to everyone. And just, if we could create a nice healthy support network for people that have gone through a similar thing, I think that would be an amazing thing. And if that's the only thing I ever get to do with this platform, that would honestly make me feel amazing, that we could just create in this video a little bit of a safe space where people can connect and support each other through quite difficult times, and know that you're not alone, that there is other people going through similar things as well. If you think that this video helped you, or it might help someone that you know, then feel free to share it and save it as well. The idea is that this makes people feel not alone and that they have a support network out there. But this is the first very emotional Tea and Chat Tuesday episode. Let me know again what you think with the whole setup, a more relaxed sit down conversation thing. Should I be posting these on my channel? Should I be posting this on a podcast channel, so a completely separate channel? Give me some feedback on that as well. But I've really enjoyed, and to me, even this helped with my grief process of just being able to sit down and just rant to you guys for like 10-15 minutes, however long I've been talking for. Just as a safe space, this felt really good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Tea and Chat Tuesday. Tea and Chat Tuesday? Yeah, Tea and Chat Tuesday. And I will see you guys in the next video, potentially, by the way, with a different setting. If you've been keeping up with my previous videos, we're moving house. So this, in the next episode of Tea and Chat, oh my goodness, Tea and Chat Tuesday will not look like this. So yeah, tune in for the next video to see the new setting. Bye guys.